In an abandoned toolbox.
Adam Williams and Amanda Nover have been in custody since November when they were caught driving the truck of a murdered New Hampshire couple. Today, prosecutors announced that they have been indicted, but not for murder.
This is KRIS 6 News at 6.
The Clayburgh County District Attorney today announcing indictments against Adam Curtis Williams and Amanda Nover.
Now, they had been in custody since early November. That's when they were caught driving a stolen truck and an RV that belonged to a murdered New Hampshire couple who were found buried out on Padre Island. But when the prosecutor announced the indictments, they were not for murder or capital murder. Ashley Portillo joins us now in the studio with more on this developing story. Ashley.
This is a copy of the indictments for both Adam Williams and Amanda Nover. Those indictments are for tampering with evidence, felony theft, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. But Lee, like you mentioned, none of them are for murder or capital murder in the deaths of James and Michelle Butler. Now, the suspects were driving the Butler's stolen truck when they were arrested in November. And while murder or capital murder charges are still a possibility, Clayburgh County District Attorney John T. Huber couldn't give much information about the status of this investigation. He did say, however, the timing of the indictments announced today had to do with state law. In Texas, if you're not indicted within 90 days of your arrest, you are entitled to a reasonable bond, and the indictments give prosecutors time to keep working on other possible charges.
At this point, we're still waiting on evidence. There's a lot of evidence that has to be tested, we've decided not to file those at this time. We're going to wait and see what the evidence shows to see if they're appropriate or not.
Attorney would not say where Williams and Nover are being held at this time. He did say, however, that they are being held on a $1.2 million bond each. No trial date, by the way, has been set for those indictments announced today. Lee.
All right, thank you very much, Ashley. Now, we also did ask the district attorney about the gun that the suspects reportedly had in their possession and where it came from. The DA said that's part of the ongoing investigation, so he couldn't comment on it. Well, James and Michelle Butler were traveling to a job in Fort Lauderdale, Florida when they passed through Corpus Christi. It was around mid-October, and since they didn't have to be in Florida until November, they decided that they would camp in the area out near Padre Bayou Park. That's where they were last seen on October 14th, and family members say they last heard from them on October 16th. The Butlers then declared missing on October 23rd. Their bodies, of course, found buried out on Padre Island on October 27th. Well, the Butlers were eventually returned to New Hampshire in December. That's when their remains were cremated and sent home.
And we have continuing coverage of our weather, and overall we had a beautiful rain. It just didn't last long enough as the rain moved through quickly today, but it did happen, and it happened everywhere in the coastal bend. Lighter amounts south and west, heavier north and east, just like we drew it up on the board with the computer models last night. And light winds are now in order, chasing that disturbance away from the region. Temperatures are all in the 60s, somewhere between cool and mild. The day planner for tomorrow, the only problem for tomorrow is this right here. We're going to have fog in the morning with all the water that's been laid down and the dampness on the surface. 59 degrees at 7, 69 at noon, and 71 at 5 p.m. Tomorrow gets better as the day goes on. Oh my. In a few minutes, your complete forecast right here.
Dale, thank you. A shocking discovery in Aransas Pass late yesterday has sparked a murder investigation. A toolbox was found on a railroad street just north of East Wheeler Avenue. Inside was the body of a woman. Our Catherine McGinty joins us now live from where that discovery was made. And Kat, I understand the woman has been identified.
Katia, that body has been identified as 29-year-old Rebecca Ann Maloney from Rockport. Police say Maloney's family actually came to them worried because they hadn't seen her in several days, and the family then confirmed that it was the body of Rebecca Maloney. Police say when she was found, she had already been dead for several hours and had obvious injuries on her body. We have been in contact with family members today who are clearly distraught. They say Rebecca leaves behind 3 children. The Aransas Pass Police Department have not released any new information on the investigation since this morning's press release. There are still no leads in her death. Katia.
All right, thank you for that, Kat. Meanwhile, wet road conditions may be to blame for a deadly accident this morning in B County. The DPS says an 18-wheeler was on 181 just south of Normanna when the driver suddenly crossed into the opposite lane. It smashed head on into a pickup that was going in the opposite direction. 2 men in the truck were killed. They were from Fort Worth and Arlington. The driver of that 18-wheeler was taken to a hospital with serious injuries.
Well, the city wants to increase traffic through Corpus Christi International Airport, and this morning, City Manager Peter Zanoni met with members of the new Air Force Traffic Task Force. Our Jeff Dubroff is live at the airport this evening with more on that. And Jeff, I understand you spoke with the city manager today. Did he say why this task force is being created now?
Lee, when I spoke with Peter Zanoni earlier this morning, he told me it was imperative to take opportunity of the city's economic growth, and it starts with expanding Corpus Christi International Airport.
This is an opportunity to try to make things a little better for our community and for our businesses.
The new Air Service Task Force has one goal: to increase air traffic in and out of Corpus Christi International Airport, something the group finds imperative as economic development has increased in the coastal bend.
One of the key limiting factors in economic development and actually limiting what types of industries we can help locate here is the air service and the air links.
And there is business coming to Corpus Christi.
Exxon, SABIC, even the Steel Dynamics, bringing in lots of employees from across the country, both in terms of construction and then permanent jobs. And that definitely is adding to the utilization of our airport.
However, one of the big issues that is deterring flyers from using CCIA and driving to closer and bigger hubs is flight certainty and the amount of airlines that use the airport.
It's easier because you have more variety and more choices, more direct flights.
That's something that was talked about today in great length, is that Corpus Christi has a history of cancellations.
The task force will start forming ideas on how to attract visitors through Corpus Christi International Airport, and they believe a great deal is at stake.
If we don't have air links that to other parts of the country on a regular basis, on an affordable basis, and a reliable basis, it's going to be a limiting factor on the entire economy here.
Now, one of the biggest factors into going into flying in and out of Corpus Christi is the price of flights. I reached out to Southwest Airlines today, and they told me they price their flights based on the market condition. Now, lowering flights is lowering flight prices rather is the first step to getting traffic to come in and out of Corpus Christi International Airport. Lee?
All right, thank you very much, Chef. Now, if you're wondering whether the airport could actually handle increased traffic, the number of travelers back in December of 2019 was nearly 8% higher than the numbers for December 2018.
I'm Randall Cam. Next, we look at the person looking out for your tax dollars. She's been on the job nearly 2 years, but still isn't fully qualified. We'll explain why as Chris 6 News at 6 continues.
Tonight, 6 Investigates is looking into the persons responsible for keeping city governments transparent and accountable.
Now, for any given city, that person is usually the city auditor. But here in Corpus Christi, we've learned that the woman currently serving in that role is coming up short. 6 Investigates Randall Cam is here to walk you through what's happening and ultimately what it means for properly tracking your tax dollars. So Randall, if you would, explain the role of a city auditor.
Well, Lee, it's all about showing citizens Corpus Christi city personnel are behaving responsibly and using public funds wisely. That's the gist of the job, and that is exactly what interim City Auditor Kimberly Houston has been doing. Only problem is she's not fully qualified to do it.
The appointee is directed to become certified as a certified internal auditor within 1 year of the current date.
But that was almost 2 years ago, and Corpus Christi interim City Auditor Kimberly Houston hasn't finished testing to become a certified internal auditor, which means she can't be promoted, and most importantly, taxpayers don't have a qualified city auditor keeping track of government spending.
My certification kind of took a back burner to getting our work done because that was really important.
So you were busy with the work of the city, didn't have time to prepare for the exam or take it?
Correct.
Why is it taking so long? She had a year to complete this. It's been almost 2.
Okay. Let me get this right. So the department has gone through some changes on there, and we've had some new auditors, and she has spent her time training that. Between training the new auditors and doing the existing audit work, she said that she hasn't had time to complete the test.
After we brought this issue to the city's attention, an official extension was suddenly given.
Thank you for the fine work that you're doing, and I look forward to you having the certification come June.
You heard that right. Houston now has until June to get certified. That's more than a year past the original deadline.
We want to see that have the full certification that's required for it to move from the interim position to the permanent position.
With the official title comes a raise of $8,000 added to her $87,000 a year salary plus benefits. But Houston explains it's not about the money.
I care about what I do. I've become a member of the community, and I really am invested in the success of the city.
Happens if Kimberly Houston doesn't pass the test to become certified. Right now, there appears to be no contingency plan. We asked the audit committee chair if there were other candidates for the job of city auditor. He said no. Randall Cam, 6 Investigates.
Thank you very much, Randall. Well, the House impeachment managers have started laying out their cards.
Today, they started a 3-day presentation of their case against President Trump.
Investigates too?
And welcome back. Opening arguments now underway in the impeachment trial of President Trump.
After months of investigations, House impeachment managers restated the focus of their case.
The Constitution demands the removal of Donald J. Trump from his office as President of the United States.
House managers have 3 days to lay out their evidence, and they are hoping to convince a small number of moderates in the Republican-controlled Senate that President Trump obstructed Congress and abused his power.
His scheme was undertaken for a simple but corrupt reason: to help him win re-election in 2020.
The next vote on whether to allow witnesses is still several days away. President Trump is suggesting that he could use executive privilege to block former staffers like John Bolton from taking the stand.
Well, today is the deadline for victims of the Equifax data breach to file a claim. The company's settlement with the government entitles affected consumers to free credit monitoring and identity restoration services for the next several years. Consumers may also be eligible for a reimbursement of their time and certain services if their identity was stolen. The breach back in 2017, one of the largest ever, threatening personal information. It impacted 147 million people. Now, if you'd like to find out if you're on the list of folks who had their information compromised, we've got a link for you on our website. That's KRISTV.com.
Now, your Chris 6 weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Dale Nelson.
And the winds in the Gulf last night and this morning really stirred things up, as you can see here, causing coastal flooding with higher than normal tides on area beaches. And again, lots of wave action offshore, rip current risk high, and small craft advisory. So I want to thank photographer Bobby Gonzalez for those pictures as he brought those in. Coastal flood advisory till 9 o'clock, small craft advisory till an hour after midnight tonight. Then things really improve here tomorrow. We'll see a little bit of a northerly wind behind our little front, but overall not too bad across the region. So that's what we're looking at. This is the rainfall today. And again, you can see the heaviest activity lined up right here on Interstate 37 north and east. 0.6 of an inch of rain over here in Port Aransas and the Aransas Pass area. The Cheniere plant over in Gregory had 0.7 of an inch of rain. North Shore had 0.65, and John Beard over in Portland on the north side of Nueces Bay had a beautiful 0.6 of an inch of rain. 1/3 at the airport and out at Alice, but lesser amounts elsewhere. At Galahar and Staples, about 0.2 of an inch, according to our weather watcher there, Mr. Garza. As far as the looping Doppler radar, you can see how the rain came through, developed as drizzle last night, warm air overriding cold air at the surface, but nothing severe out of any of this and nothing heavy, just a beautiful light rain. It's just too bad it didn't last a little longer, but a soaking rain for our northern counties and our northern farm and ranch lands certainly had to help out. And with the Nueces County Livestock Show and Rodeo, you'd expect that to be going on this time of the year. We still have a little bit of drizzle and mist in the region. That's going to lead to fog overnight. As we slowly clear out, there's a warm front up to the north that will pass on to the east. There's our disturbance that will move on to the northeast as well, and mild air will move in tomorrow with this front around noon, but that won't affect our weather here tomorrow afternoon. You can see the dry air behind the disturbance right here in brown. There's another disturbance behind this, which will bring additional rain here on Saturday, believe it or not, mainly Saturday late in the day and into the evening. Here's how that's going to come about. Dry northwesterly flow tonight, and again tomorrow as that low digs in and then moves off. And then here we are on Friday night, beautiful weather there. And then this southwesterly flow brings that disturbance in. This is Saturday night and into Sunday morning. And then by Sunday evening, high pressure takes over again with more great weather, but it breaks down again by the time we get to Monday. All right, here's a look at the winds. Breezy now, but light out of the west with fog in the morning. Northerly winds tomorrow afternoon, only about 10 to 12 miles an hour. Absolutely great. Light winds and chilly temperatures here on Friday as we dip into the upper 40s. And then light winds Friday afternoon makes for a sensational day. So that's the way things are looking. And then the winds pick up here. Yes, you guessed it, just in time for Saturday. The little bit of rain we have on the coast ending. There's the fog in the morning, and at around 9 o'clock, then it clears out. It's beautiful after that, sunshine through the entire Friday afternoon and evening. Rainfall on Saturday could be another ½ inch near the coast, and we certainly need it. 65 right now. We'll hold in the 60s between now and midnight. Here is a look at the 7-day forecast, and again, it's good. It has its ups and downs. 56 tonight with fog, 77 tomorrow. Great on Friday too. Scattered showers late in the day Saturday, early Sunday. Sunday afternoon looks good. And then we have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and lots of sunshine.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.